Hey guys, let's go over week 20, converting decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals homework. Question 1, the figure below is divided into 10 equal strips. How much of the figure is shaded? Give the amount as a fraction and as a decimal. Okay, so how much is shaded? Well, we look at what is shaded. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them are shaded out of 10, so 8/10 is the fraction. We could simplify that to 4/5 by dividing by 2, divide by 2. 8/10 can be written simply as 0.8. 8 is in the tenths place. Question 2, write this fraction as a decimal. Remember how we write fractions as decimals? The first thing we can do is just say it and see if it's already has a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. This one does, 39 hundredths. So now we can just write it as 0.39 because the 39, that is in the hundredths place. Right, this is a decimal. We cannot just do this. This is 9/10. This is 9 hundredths. This is 9 thousandths. So that's what we want, 9 thousandths. So we could guess and check, or we could figure out, we know the last digit is going to go into the thousandths place. Work it out that way. Write 9/10 as a fraction. Do not try to simplify 9/10 as a fraction. Just say it. Write it. Simplify. Write 3 thousandths as a fraction. I know it's thousandths because it's 3 tenths hundredths. That's my thousandths place. So 3 thousandths. Do not try to simplify. I cannot simplify that anyway. The only odd numbers you can simplify would be if they end in a 5. Write 4/5 as a decimal. 2 ways to do this. We could see how many 5s fit into 4 by annexing as many zeros as we need to until we get 0 and keep going that way. I'm going to do, or we could try to get a denominator of 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, on and on and on. I think I can turn this into a denominator of 10. An equivalent fraction to this, if I multiply that by 2, and I multiply by that by 2, I end up with 8/10. And I know 8/10 is 0.8. Okay, I could have done the same thing here and seen it was 0.8 that way and not have to annex those. We can do it either way. 27 1/5 as a decimal. Okay, so we know it's going to be 27. Now we just have to figure out what this 1/5 is. I'm going to do it the same way. 1/5 to tenths. 1/5 is the same as 2/10. So it's 27.2. Write 17/20 as a decimal. Again, I could see how many 20s fit into 17, but instead, I'm going to see how many 20s fit into 100. 20 times 5 is 100. 17 times 5 is 85. So my answer is 85 hundredths, which we write like this, 0.85. Number 9, use a calculator to write 47/15 as a decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so we know that fraction form is really just division. Numerator divided by the denominator. So for this one, 47 divided by 15 is 3.1333. The 3 goes on forever. Put a line over it. Okay, we went around to the nearest hundredth. So I find my 100th place, I find my boss in my 1,000th place, and we see that that keeps this the same. So the answer is 3.13. Okay, if this was 5 or greater, then this is going to go up to 3.14. Because it'd be closer to 3 and 14 hundredths than 3 and 13 hundredths. But because it's a 3, that's my answer for that. There will be a calculator for you provided in Alex. So pay attention when it says use a calculator. Okay, 10. Right, 4 and 13/25 as a decimal. So it's gonna be 4 point, whatever 13/25 is. Again, I can see how many 25s fit into 13, and annex some zeros and do it that way, bring the decimal straight up. But I'm just going to change that to an equivalent fraction with the denominator of 100. How many quarters in a dollar? 4, so times 4. 13 times 4, which is 52. So it's 52 hundredths. So 4 and 52 hundredths. Okay, write 2/10 as a fraction in simplest form. 2/10. Say it, write it, simplify it. They're both even, divide them both by 2. There's your answer. Write 12 hundredths as a fraction in simplest form. Say it, 12 hundredths, write it, simplify it. They're both even, divide them both by 2 to get to 6/50th. They're still both even, divide them both by 2 to get to 3/25. 3 does not go into 25. That is in simplest form. You could have gone straight from here to here, dividing by 4, or just divide by 2 twice. Number 13, write 6 and 79 hundredths as a mixed number and as an improper fraction. Do not try to simplify your answer. Okay, so as a mixed number, it's 6 and 79 over 100. There's your mixed number. 79 doesn't, we cannot simplify this. Remember how I said earlier, if it's odd, only if it ends in a 5 will you be able to simplify. So you can't simplify that. Okay, so now that's that as a mixed number. Now to write it as an improper fraction, remember how we do this wheel things. 100 times 6 plus 79. 100 sixes is 600 plus 79, 679 hundredths. We could also go back to our original problem and see that this would be 600 hundredths plus 79 hundredths. 14, write 4 and 2/10 as a mixed number and as an improper fraction. Now we do want to write it in simplest form. Okay, so 4 and 2/10. 4 and 2/10, like that. 2/10 is the same as 1/5. Don't write it like this though in your answer. We need to put that 4 back in there. 4 and 1/5. There it is as a mixed number. To put it in as an improper fraction, now we're going to do that times that plus that. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 21/5. This goes back to week 7, I think. Okay, last question, the hardest one. Order these numbers from least to greatest. Okay, so since some are in fraction form, some are in decimal form, I'm going to change them all to decimal form. 3 and 6/11 is 3 point whatever 6/11 is. I can put that in my calculator. It's going to give me 5, 4, something, on and on and on. 3.657, 3.65, and 71/20. I put this in the calculator. 71 divided by 20 is 3 and 3.55. Okay, so now that we've gotten to this point, I better take that to the next decimal. 6/11 is 5454, 54 on forever. Okay, so there we have this. Now that I have them lined up, I'm going to go ahead and annex a 0 here and annex a 0 here because those were exact. They're the same. So now I compare largest place value, they're all the same. Next place value, we have 2 in the 6s and 2 in the 5s, so the 2 5s are smaller. It wants to go least to greatest. So I'm going to first compare these two. Same, this one's smaller. So this one would go first in my order. It is the smallest. Now that we know that's the smallest, that's my next smallest. Because the 3 and the 5 is smaller than the 6s in the 10th place. So that was, this one would go second. Now I'm just comparing these two. Those are the same, those are the same, those are the same, that's smaller. So 3.65 would go next. And then my largest then would be 3.657. So that's the order I would drag them into. So I'm gonna line them up vertically, and I'm gonna compare decimal place values as we go. You may wanna write the numbers out in front, smallest to largest, and then drag. Use what works for you. Okay, that's this week's homework. There are 15 questions. Do your best. You can do a good job on this.